Colby Covington breaks silence on his loss at UFC Tampa. Covington stepped into the octagon against Joaquin Buckley this past Saturday. Despite showing his trademark toughness, Colby struggled in the striking exchanges. Although he managed to take Buckley down, his control was brief. Buckley showcased solid takedown defense and landed a shot that cut Colby's eyelid. The fight ended with Buckley securing a TKO victory by doctor stoppage. This result stirred up mixed reactions from the MMA community. Despite most fans mocking Colby and saying he's finished, UFC president Dana White stated that he isn't fully agreeing with the decision to stop the fight. 2 days after the fight, Covington broke silence on his chaotic performance at UFC Tampa. In a video posted on his YouTube channel, Colby spoke about the cut, what led to it, and where he goes from here. Colby expressed his determination to bounce back stronger after the loss. He made it clear that he will never give up, vowing to learn from this experience and return better than before.
Yeah, man, I just feel like a little disappointed. You know, I feel like the fans got robbed, you know? It is what it is, that's life, you know? You don't hang your head and it's in the past now. I don't dwell on my past, I just focus on being better for the future. We came in, in close contact and I felt like there was a headbutt, and as soon as it cut in the first round, I couldn't see. I had blurred vision, I was seeing 3 different people. I was like, fuck, which one do I punch? I didn't know what to do, I was kind of confused, but I knew I had to keep fighting. I had to give the UFC and the fans a show, and that's what they pay their hard-earned money to come for. I'm a warrior, we're gladiators, so I'm not going to stop. I've had way worse in fights than a little cut over my eye, so I feel like I was really just starting to gain momentum. Like I was starting to wear him, I could see he was breathing out of his mouth. It wasn't as much volume at that point, so I feel like it was going to be my fight in the championship round. So I feel like the judges not the judges, but the doctor is the one that beat me tonight. I didn't feel like I lost to another opponent. I'm going to get a full training camp. Came on short notice. This is for the company. This is for the fans. This wasn't a full training camp. I was campaigning with Trump, getting him ready. I wasn't even in the training room.
Khabib Nurmagomedov slams former opponent Dustin Poirier and tells him he's finished. DP, following his defeat to Islam Makhachev at UFC 302, is setting his sights on a retirement fight next year. Although he hinted at an unexpected retirement immediately after the event, Dustin now aims to step into the octagon one last time before officially closing the chapter on his illustrious career. Dustin and Khabib will always share a historic bond through their UFC 242 title bout in 2019. In that fight, Khabib unified the UFC lightweight titles with a third-round rear naked choke submission over DP. As Dustin gears up for what could be his final fight, Khabib makes it clear it should be his last. He firmly warns Poirier against chasing any illusions of further comebacks to the octagon. During a recent interview on the Pound for Pound podcast, Khabib stated, "I think Dustin can beat Charles Oliveira, and then Dustin has to stop fighting. He's finished. Justin Gaethje, Khabib, Dustin, Tony Ferguson. This is old school, brother. Stop fighting. We have to recognize the real things." Dustin Poirier isn't the only former rival Khabib Nurmagomedov has pushed toward retirement. In recent years, the Eagle has publicly called for Tony Ferguson to hang up the gloves as well, with Ferguson enduring an 8-fight losing streak and their highly anticipated clash repeatedly falling through during their careers. Khabib has been vocal about his belief that it's time for Ferguson to step away from fighting. Joe Rogan blames Conor McGregor's downfall on the brutal reality of repeated head trauma. According to Rogan, years of taking heavy shots in the octagon have caught up with the once dominant fighter, leading to his sharp decline. Many fight fans believe Conor McGregor hasn't been the same fighter or person since cashing in on his blockbuster boxing match against Floyd Mayweather. Once expected to face Michael Chandler this year, McGregor's octagon return was scrapped, leaving his comeback in limbo. Despite UFC CEO Dana White's claims that McGregor will fight again, the former double champ hasn't competed since his gruesome leg injury in July 2021. His record since 2016, a dismal 1-3 with just one win to his name in nearly 8 years. On the Joe Rogan Experience, during a conversation with YouTuber Derek Monroe, Joe Rogan delved into McGregor's controversies, including a recent civil verdict for sexual assault in Ireland and his chaotic behavior outside the cage. Rogan speculated that McGregor's steep decline could be tied to head trauma and alleged drug use, including cocaine.
I mean, he likes coke, but I think there's another issue to talk about. A lot of fighters, when they've sustained a significant amount of damage over the course of their career, and there's no way to not get that, right? I mean, we've all seen Conor get beat up and knocked out. We've seen Conor's sparring footage. He spars pro boxers. He's sparring elite fighters. You're getting hit in the head a lot. And a lot of fighters, especially towards the end of their career, turn to drugs. And I think there's probably like a constant state of discomfort that they live in, where their dopamine levels are all fucked up, their cortisol levels are all fucked up, their body's just, you're not supposed to get punched in the head 1,000 times a year. It's just not supposed to happen. And that's the reality of consistent training. Subconcussive trauma to the head is what causes soccer players to get CTE. That doesn't hurt, but that thump, that's giving you CTE.
UFC bantamweight title challenger Umar Nurmagomedov opens up about the Nate Diaz incident with Team Khabib at the UFC 310 weigh-ins. Umar also talked about the altercation he had with the champion Merab Dvalisvhili at UFC 311 presser. In a recent interview with the Russian reporter Usha Taika, the #2 ranked bantamweight Umar was asked about recent chaos between his team and other fighters like Nate Diaz and Dvalishvili. I was walking backstage and saw Merab and a lot of the media people around. I looked at him and gave him a smile. I wasn't trying to intimidate him, I just smiled at the situation we were put in, and he started yapping about, "Why don't you respect me? Don't disrespect me." And I was trying to understand what he was talking about. When did I ever insult you? And when he started repeating himself over and over, I told him, "What are you gonna do?" I saw that he didn't want to talk to me or explain anything. You must be able to explain yourself. When did I ever insult you? The security was there. Merab is the type of guy who acts tough when the security is around. I told him to call me and we can discuss everything. He hasn't called. We have a lot of mutual friends. He could get my number in a matter of 2 seconds. Nate Diaz is another character that acts tough when security is around. When he walked past me, Khabib and Islam, he didn't do anything. If he really wanted to punch me or anyone, he was just 1 step away. But instead of actually doing it, he walked away and started pointing fingers and throwing stuff our way from a distance. He started it first. We don't care about that guy at all. We have already given him what he deserved. It was a long time ago and we smacked him. Umar will face the champ Merab at UFC 311 in January to settle the beef. Nurmagomedov won his first headliner in August, where he outworked Corey Sandhagen over 5 rounds for a unanimous decision. Despite recently revealing he fractured his arm and saying he couldn't fight in January, the undefeated contender will compete for the title in the first pay-per-view of 2025. UFC 311 is stacked with notable names on the card. Islam Makhachev and Arman Tsarukyan will face in a rematch, this time for a lightweight title in the main event. Merab and Umar will look to settle their rivalry in a highly anticipated co-main event. Other high-profile fights include #2 light heavyweight Yuri Prohaska taking on former champion Jamal Hill, and #9 lightweight Beneil Dariush facing Renato Moicano, who's been on fire lately. That's it for today. Leave your comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for daily MMA news.